What does being psychic, allowing big money to come into your orbit, and magnetizing dream clients have in common? One person. Her name is Rachel Alyce. She is an expert business strategist with a psychic twist, a twist that you will love in this episode. She helps coaches and healers to skyrocket their sales and scale to multi-six, seven figures and beyond. Rachel is an absolute delight, and I have no doubt that by the end of this episode, you will feel as though your capacity to receive will be expanded. I have a very special guest today. She is one of a kind. I haven't known her long, but I have a sneaky suspicion that I will know her for a long time. I've got goosebumps running down my legs.
I'm slightly burping as well, which is my confirmation, yes.
It is happening. It is a fusion. We are here. Please welcome to White Hot Business, Rachel Alyce. Rachel, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Lauren. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be on this with you. And again, I am the same. I literally only just found you, a few weeks ago. And yeah, I can tell this is definitely going to be a match made in heaven. So I'm excited, very excited.
Yes, I'm with you. And I got my spidey sense of goosebumps running down my legs and they ran down my arms at the same time. That's always my manifesting generator. Yes, it's happening. And you, what happened in your body? Can you share with us?
Yes, so I burp for, sorry, my thing. I burp for confirmation. Sorry again. Yeah, so I burp for confirmation yeses, which means it's just something that I picked up actually about 2 years ago, where I just will belch burp when something is a yes. My spirit guides want to confirm something for me. And that's what they do. Yeah, this is part of like some of my psychic kind of gift collection, so to speak. But what you're doing is effectively clairsentience, feeling, clair, like chills. So when you're starting to have chills in your body, that's the one way of you can say it's your manifesting generator, such and such, but I would argue it's your psychic gifts or intuitive gifts speaking to you effectively or communicating to you. So you're quite clairsentient, aka you get feelings. Yeah.
Oh, I'm grateful that you challenged that because I've never thought of myself as clairsentient. I have
Mm.
always just gone, oh, I'm claircognizant. I just know, I just know, I just know. And I've never quite thought, oh, there is that gift present. And it's not a competition, let's be honest. There is that
Mm.
gift present.
Yeah.
And there's also this one. So I'm excited to have, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really
You
grateful
can,
that you challenged that.
yeah, we can overlap Claire's. You're not just one predominant Claire as well. So I feel like we jumped ahead and we're not really explaining what I do, and I'm just going off and going, oh, it's
Oh,
like your Claire's are
please.
here and there.
Please, we go
So
deep and we go fast. It's there's
yes, exactly. I love it. So, yeah. So, if any of you are listening, I'll just introduce myself quickly before we get into this conversation a little bit more. But I am a psychic business strategist, and I am a business strategist first and foremost. I've had this huge background in business strategy all my life. My parents were entrepreneurs as well. My background, my educational background, industry background is all to do with business. It's been business my entire life. My dad used to educate and lecture me on the way to school about business, even though I didn't want it to at 6 in the morning. Like it been my whole entire life. And then my psychic gifts, I've always had them since childhood. They started to really reconnect with me in my early 30s. And they came on very strong for business. They came on very strong for strategy. And what it is that I'm able to do now with my psychic abilities is I'm able to inform my strategy through my psychic gifts. So I'm able to help clients move a little bit faster. I'm able to help clients collapse time. And I don't really love to use that word because it's so overused in the industry, but we
Mm,
really do have those kind of results.
mm,
And I've been able to just kind of guide clients who start, sometimes the entrepreneurial journeys, but you go a little bit over here, you go a little bit over there, you go a little bit over here. But with the psychic guidance thrown in, or the psychic insight, we're able to just move somebody on their path a little bit smoother and hitting the right areas a little bit faster. So that is pretty much what I do in a nutshell. But obviously, me and Lauren have kicked off, and I've been going, "You're clairsentient" straight away. But this is it. It's interesting because I have like an overlap of abilities. So I'll have the burping come through, and then I'm clairaudient mainly, which is like that clear hearing. I'm clairsentient as well. I get like chills as well. I'm clairvoyant. It's not as strong as the others, but it does have its place. I'm claircognizant, like a clear knowing as well. I know things sometimes. And it's just blending those and getting like learning how to blend clairs is really amazing. And you're gonna get like a better, like accurate, better response, like download or information as well. So I'd be interested to see, like, as you go through the day now, just start picking up on the body very subtly of the feelings it gets, because it seems like you're quite clairsentient, and obviously you've got the clear knowing over the top. So I would always be like just looking at those subtle cues now. It'd be quite, yeah, I definitely feel you're clairsentient, and I'm slightly burping there for confirmation as well. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. I received that gift. Thank you. What I would love to know is when you've got a client sitting in front of you for the first time, what's your experience of those gifts coming through? Does it start with one and then you feel a shift in another, or is it all just flowing through and you're not quite categorizing each of those Claire gifts?
Yeah, so it's just all coming through. I tend to, before, like on a client session, but my initial client sessions were a lot more psychic, a little bit more than strategic. And then as we work long term, it's quite strategic. So one of the things that I do is I will sit down, I get information before like we even start working. Like I'll get a drop coming in here and there. And then just before the call, I'll sit down with a piece of paper and I'll just write down what's coming through. So we've got some kind of different information. And then on the call, I'll pretty much ask them like what's going on and what's happening. And then it all starts, and the psychic guides will start to come through, and then we will start to talk about things. But again, it's like the psychic insight only takes me like maximum 10 minutes to give. It's then the strategy, like it's like, okay, right, there's this offer coming through. Let's get a Google Doc up and let's get it out there. Let's get it launched.
Yeah.
And then I'm way more like in that strategic zone of like then doing the strategy pieces from my like knowledge of strategy, but there will be a psychic glaze over that as well. So they'll be like, so say for example, I've got a client who wants to launch an offer, then I'll go like, I might get this sense that email will be the hottest place for them first, and we to do something a little bit campaigning with email first. And then we'll do it, and then they've already sold out on email. Instead of going through like a launch template that you've kind of taken from a mentor or business course that you've worked with before, we kind of shake it up. And like everybody's launches are not all the same. So I had a client, she was running 2 offers at the same time, same price point. And I was like, okay, this offer, you'll basically sell out through content alone. It's fine, we'll just do content for that. And then the other offer, it's kind of like, it felt like it needed a little bit more to it. So we did like a community event, like a masterclass, or what you my guys might call a workshop or something like that. And then there was a second piece where she then had to drive them into a community afterwards to just nurture them a little bit more with the concept that she was selling. And then it sold out. So, even though she sold at the end of the masterclass, only so many people signed up with them. As soon as she got them into that WhatsApp community, they were able the sales started to really come in. So it is kind of like guidance, and a lot of people go to launches and think, oh, I'm going to do my offer launch exactly like I did my last one. That's the only way I know how. But I challenge people to think a little bit differently with their for different offers, to think about different presenting that offer and how you're going to give it to the world, and how you're going to give it to, and how you're going to take people through the journey with you to sell it. So yeah, it works like that. I've had things as well come through, like if it impacts the business, then I'll receive the information. So once my client, she's been in my world for years. She's a breathwork specialist in America, like the US. She does like events, and she works with corporates as well. And she has a coaching business. And I knew her family dynamics very well as well. So I didn't kind of, I've always kind of known very kind of personal details a little bit, because we've been 4 years in the world together, you get quite close. So I knew some of the personal dynamics as well. But I signed off a new coat, like I signed off the new like email with like, hey, we're going again, another 6 months together. And I said, let's do 2020. I think it was 2024 at the start of 2024 or 2023. Yes, no, I signed, it was this re-sign in 2023 for 2024. And I said, let's do 2024, baby. And I never use that word baby. It's like not my British rhetoric.
Yeah.
I'm like, way more, I know I won't use that. I was like, oh shit, she's pregnant. And I was like, oh, okay, she's pregnant. Okay, that's not my place to say. I'm not going to say anything. So I didn't really say anything to it. I thought she'll probably tell me in due time. So just put a little winky emoji next to babies as a little bit of a kind of hint. So when she comes back to it, I go, yeah, go look at that email. I said you're going to get, I thought you were going to get pregnant. And then I was on a mastermind. She was in one of my masterminds, and I was on a mastermind call with her. And I remember her saying, like, listen, I want to talk about plans for the next so many months, like quite far ahead. She was really getting into like the year ahead vibes. And I felt like they were almost, I could see them up in my mind's eye. Like there was almost like my guides and her guides doing the Ring of Roses, which is like an old dance, yeah, where they grab each
Yeah.
other's hands, like, and they're going, she can't, screaming into like my Claire, like screaming, she can't, she's going to be pregnant. She can't do that because she's going to have a baby. And I was really taken out by that. And even my client, she looks back, she says, I've never seen you flustered on calls until that one time. And I was really kind of like, whoa, I don't know how to give this information. I don't know how to say this information, especially with a group of other people on the call with her. So I kind of ended the call and I just thought, okay, I'm going to message her. And I just goes, this is really thingy for me because it's not my vibe to say these things, but do you think you could be preparing for motherhood? Absolutely not. Absolutely no way. I was like, oh, okay. And then I just said, okay, well, I just had some information that, that might be a possibility, right? And she's like, no, absolutely not, never can't, and all this and that. And then 2 weeks later, I'm pregnant. Rachel, I'm pregnant. So it was kind of like, it gets very interesting. We have incredible things happen. Like we've had some kind of client divine pivots. Um, and all sorts. And then it's very much the micro stuff every day, the strategy work every day and everything.
Mm.
So it gets to be it gets to be fun work as well. And it's very,
Yeah.
you can really feel the impact for people as in that sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And I'm hearing that it's quite dynamic in that you get to focus on the strategy. And then if something comes through for you, you get to bring that information through where appropriate, where,
Yeah.
where it wants to be conveyed to your client. And you get to kind of blend those two skill sets so seamlessly so that they save so much time and energy. That's what came through for me. Just listening to you, I'm like,
Yeah.
you save people so much time and energy because if you already have this sense and this knowing of what each offer needs, then they're not putting all of their attention and energy into a place where that offer is not going to sell.
Mm.
And I mean, beyond that, beyond saving your clients time and energy, I also know that you have a special skill for supporting your clients to welcome in a lot more money. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I kind of had the sense I can do this, but my healer, my psychic healer, psychic's neither here nor psychic, she's often called me a wealth activator. I can see it with some of the results that we get, but it's like a really weird thing for me to kind of claim at the same time. But I do feel in my own personal self, I have got better at welcoming in more money and holding
Yes.
more space for more money as well. If I look at my business, I'm a pretty much one platform. I have started to come over to another platform at the moment. So if I look at my business, I'm mainly selling stories. That's where most of my revenue comes from. I mainly have a one-to-one model, mainly as
Hmm.
well, because I love to go deep, and that's my blueprint. And it took me quite a few years to kind of get to my blueprint. I used to do low ticket. I used to do like I do the
I
occasional
just
mastermind.
cannot, knowing what I know about you, I just cannot, and I didn't witness that era. I'm just like, I cannot imagine you doing. Like I can
Yeah.
believe it, but I'm just like I'm grappling to imagine it because you are so high ticket. Yeah,
It's
from what I've
it
witnessed
yeah
and from how, and that seems so congruent for you.
yes, and it was like, this is so interesting because my own psychic abilities, I'm not great for myself. I'm great for
Mm.
everybody else because there's a neutrality involved, right? And when you're psychic for yourself, it's like every ego, everything comes in, and you're like, "Woo, oh, you've gone." Yeah, I used to do everything, and this is maybe something that your guys can really feel into. Is like, I did the things. I came on and I got inspired by people's business models. I tried low ticket, mid ticket,
Yep.
everything. And I'm here to go, and my blueprint is to go deep. And
Mm.
my blueprint is to, really go deep with the work I do. So it was either one-to-one or a very strong hybrid, very close-knit mastermind model.
Yep.
And as soon as I kind of like really went into that and like kind of ignored all the other stuff and thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to completely go in like this in my business. That's when it all kind of really popped off. That's when it all really went into alignment for me. So well, and I'm great at helping people with their other blueprints, but it was actually a shaman who'd said to me, "You're like, I think you should be going like you should be. It's all about you going deep with clients, and your business model should reflect that." And I'm burping here because they're giving me confirmation again. But it's like, sorry, and that's what I did, and it was, and I said. And I started probably doing this really in August. I was like, right, my business model is this. I have like a single session if people want to taste the waters, which is effectively like my life funnel or AK my low ticket in my world.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my my more one-to-one packages. And I kind of stuck to that model. And some people come straight into the one-to-one without needing the single session. And some people would have the single session and come up into something a little bit more. And I stuck at it. I stuck at it and I did it for 6 months solidly. Well, it was more than 6 months. I did it for like and I kept going, I didn't get shiny object syndrome and go, you know what, she'll just get this low ticket. She'll just get this little mini mind up or something like that. And I
Yeah.
kept and I kept and I kept doing this model, even if it felt a bit crunchy.
Yep.
Then it was coming, I was getting shown evidence, And then in November, it just blew up. I've always been close to a 100K goal, but I've never like quite hit it. And then it went to 160,000 USD in 1 month. And this was from me, just me, myself, and I with this simple business
Yeah.
model. And I hope this shows people what is actually possible because
Yes, it
we
will,
don't
and
need
it
a lot.
does.
I don't have videographers. I don't have 500 offers. I don't have, I'm not massively, I have one main platform really. That's where I'm mainly selling stories on Instagram. I don't really use email that much because I used to it now. It's just really simple. And I think it is so possible for people to make that kind of money with just such simplicity. Because when you're in your blueprint, you're in your craft, you're in your gift, it does come together. It really does. So yeah, and another take on the money thing as well, just going into how, because I remember you saying just before we hopped on, I want to know how you receive this big money. And
Mm.
I want to know like what that is for you. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest things that I felt has helped me to receive big money has been this really deep sense of inner peace that I've kind of dropped into, and like a lot of nervous system regulations help with that, a lot of other things. But it's kind of like I've eliminated as much, not that I don't get it, lack and scarcity energy from my system as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I kind of really kind of went into, I remember this huge month that just went boom. I went into November just feeling really peaceful, just feeling like really knowing. And I was like in pure embodiment already of the person that's already had this kind of
Yes.
month without worrying, without doubting, without going, oh my gosh, shall I change my business model? Shall I put this offer out instead? And it was that real kind of like, no, this is where I'm going to ground, this is where I'm going to root. And I was really peaceful. And I was actually really busy as well in November. And I was speaking to a client, she's another psychic, and she's like, do you know what? It's like this, when you have high output, you get high input back. But I was all over. I was in Florida, I was in Dubai, I was running all over. I have friends visiting. I couldn't touch my feet, couldn't touch the ground other than obviously working with my clients. And I couldn't doubt myself. I couldn't even enter a spiral. I didn't even have time,
Yeah.
or like enter any kind of lack thinking, or thinking, oh, I'm not getting any sales. So, and with high ticket, you do have to hold the energy a little bit more than low
Yes.
ticket, where you get those daily hits, where you get more of the endorphin. Like, okay, here's another sale, here's another sale. With high, like, I remember even in December just gone, on the last day, I had a client re-sign again, and that was a $30,000 pay in full sale. And it's just this crazy world that I'm like living, like it's just a crazy experience right now. But it was this level of deep knowing, deep inner peace, conviction and certainty in my work, where I never used to feel this way, but I probably did more and more over time, where I just feel, and I think people have to get this, where I feel like I am, I feel I am so good at what I do, and people would be crazy not to work with me. And this is not a boastful thing. This is not a braggy thing.
Just
And it's not like
honest.
an arrogant thing. It's like, but it's like so many women you are so gifted in what you do. Own it. Own it, own it, own it, that you are actually magical, and people would be so lucky to be in your world and have you as their guide, their mentor, their coach, whatever you want to refer to you as, and they're so lucky to have you. And when I kind of really dropped into that, that was another piece that I felt was attributed to a lot of growth. And then I really want to take you to some more stories where you're like, how do you welcome, this kind of growth in? And I started to do something called pattern identification and disruption
Mm-hmm.
in my energetic pattern and disruption in my world. So one thing that I massively believe is that, like, our internal world creates our external world.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, everything that we do in beliefs, assumptions about ourselves, everything that kind of our inner consciousness really creates our outer reality. And I had a really remarkable experience a few years ago, where I really actually gone, you read the books on this, you kind of hear all the people saying it. And then it's kind of like, it wasn't until something happened to me when I was like, this actually is this shit. This really is truth. And I remember it was about back in August 2022, and I was in this massive pattern of delay. And I could pick up the pattern because I was delayed in queues, going everywhere. I had clients saying they
Wow.
wanted to work with me, and they were delaying. And my accountants were meant to get something back to me, and they were delayed in it. And then I was going to the airport, and I said to my partner at the time, I said, we're going to be delayed. I know it. And he goes, no, don't be silly. And the plane was delayed by 4 hours, the flight was. So I sat with myself in the airport, and I asked my guides at the time, and I got the information, and I said, why am I in this energetic pattern of delay? Why is this delay? And they said the word health. And they took me back to a moment in time about a few months ago, about 3 months, I would say, where I said I had some gut health issues, chronic gut health issues. And I said, I'm gonna wait until I've hit a certain income goal in my business, and then I'm gonna hire all the specialist help that I want to get, because the medical route wasn't
Yes.
helping me, the traditional medicine route wasn't helping me. And they said, you're waiting on yourself. So guess what comes back
Yes.
in your reality? Waiting. So this was my first time. So I goes, okay, I'll disrupt the pattern then. I'll take action now. So in the airport, I got on Instagram, found a gut health specialist, contacted them, and I really went on the holiday and looked after my gut health and just my general health. I went to the gym every morning, even though I was on holiday. And then I had an explosion in income a few weeks later. It was like almost the floodgates came in. And I started to realize, okay, we're in this space of like, we really are shaping our reality all the time. Like, okay, this is interesting. So I started to get a lot more used to patterns and reflections back, and cleaning up those reflections back when I noticed something that was happening again and again. And when you said to me on the prior to like us chatting, like, how do you bring big money in? I think a lot of the things that I've been doing in my life is noticing, observing patterns, where maybe I are not aligning myself, or not opening the floodgates to me, or not opening myself up to receiving as much, where I'm in patterns of energy, delay, waiting, etc. Or where I want to bring something in and I'm not an energetic match for it. So another one, as well as a lot of my one of my best months was signing 12-month packages. And I literally sold them in the most easiest way. They were the most easiest. Like I have workshops on my page that um I have for like 40, like $77 or something like that. And it's way easy for me to sign a $50,000
Yeah.
client and a 12-month package
Yeah.
than it is for me to do a workshop. And one of the things that I noticed as well was like, okay, and my client asked me this. She goes, "What? How do you sell the 12 months so easily? Because even that as a 12 as an experience is quite a lot for somebody to sell because it's 12 months together. It's a
Yeah.
long time. It's commitment,
Yeah.
right?" And I said, "Well, that's the thing. I understood the energetics of a 12-month package, and that comes with commitment. And one thing that I did, and even my own healer identified this pattern with me, is I had to fully commit, not just to, in business and everything, but in all areas of my life. And I had to make sure I cleaned up the patterns or energy where I wasn't fully committing with things. And then I would be such that energetic match
Mm-hmm.
for people coming in to commit to me. So one of the things that I was doing at the time was I was half in and a half out of Dubai, living in Dubai.
Mm.
I'd be like, okay, I'm going to move there. And then I'll quickly be back in England before you know it. I'll be like, no, I'm going to move there. And then I'll be like, right, I'm going to get temporary accommodation and I don't have to commit. I can then decide if I like it or not.
Ah.
And I noticed this and I was like, oh, hang on a minute here. I know what I'm doing. And I just thought, it kind of in November as well, it was really interesting. I kind of made a full decision. And I remember saying it to my friend when she was here, said, I'm going to commit to Dubai. I said, in January, I'm going to go. Well, and even though I was saying, oh, in January, I'll do it, but I couldn't at the time because I was going to Florida and all these places. So I couldn't
Mm.
physically go and commit just yet. But I said to her, I made the decision. I said, I'm going to commit to Dubai. I'm going to live here. And then it's wild how I had mainly my best-selling package as well. Obviously, with all my foundation, like I love talking about this because I know, like, oh, energy, da 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 da. But I've got strong, solid foundation, messaging, content, everything. Like my foundations are it. Like I know how to speak. I don't want people thinking that you can just do this from energetics because you have to
Mm.
have the foundation in place of running a
Yes.
good business, to be able to
Yes.
speak to people, able to articulate the value of your offer. The
Yes.
work that I do with clients, you've got to be able to do that. But it's like this energetic piece on top, which is just like very interesting and very dynamic. And then that it comes as no surprise that the offer that I was selling out so quickly was a 12-month commitment package almost. So, and then obviously I came back to Dubai, got this place that I wished I had. I remember coming to Dubai in May, seeing this building and thinking, I'm going to live there one day. It was
Mm.
out of my price range at the time. Let's just put it that way. And then obviously with what occurred in my business just months later, I was able to come and get this apartment. But it's just interesting how you say, how do you open yourself up to more money? I think that is kind of what I do. I have strong, solid foundations in the business and strategy in
Mm.
the business. But then I kind of play the energy of I match the energy of who is the version of me or what do I need to do in my energetic field to make sure I'm a match for what I want to bring in as well.
Mm.
And day to day embody that and live that. And that is pretty much like how I think how I feel I open myself up for those bigger money months. Yeah.
And I want to go back to November and December, where you said like you were so busy, you almost couldn't like, and what I heard was you were so full, you were living your life so fully.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas there would be people listening naturally in our humanness, keeping themselves busy to the point, but not in the way that you were describing, but so trying to run so fast and stay on top of everything so that they don't quote unquote spiral, slip. But I imagine that in fact is keeping them suspended from opening up to receive exactly what it is that they want. Is that something that you see in your
You
work?
spot on actually that I actually, in the sense of I was in present moment. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I was not
Joy.
keeping busy. Yeah, again, it's not ever from the undertone of lack. A lot of people do things. I'm going to do this nervous system regulation routine. It's going to make me more money. I'm going to do this. I've heard on a podcast this person just did loads of things in that month and was always busy. So I'm going to get myself more
Yeah.
busy, make money. And what I learned over time is even that comes from the energy of lack. So
Yes.
when we do something because we actually want to do it, I want to do my nervous system routine because it really makes me feel good. I want to do all these things with my friends and I want to do all these activities and hobbies in this month because it's going to make me feel good. And then it's like that when, like I said, if you can eliminate this energy of lack and scarcity
Yes.
completely and not do it because it's going to make you attract more clients or make you more money, but it just does it because it lights you up and it's fun to do. I
Yeah.
think that's why you're right. You can't do it because you can't be like, "Ah, I'm gonna, it's like a forced, like you're coming like a forced lack, forced energy, whereas somebody who's slipping into let's live life to the full energy is so different from that hamster wheel to the enjoying the enjoying life as much as like romanticizing life, isn't it? Even
Yes.
mundane stuff. How can we romanticize things? Because there's going to be people like, I don't have a family, I don't have kids, just I don't have those things. So it might be like, well, it's quite easy for you to go and do these little things and that, but these those moments when you have to look at your life and or what you're doing and think how much can I savor from this moment, like how much present moment can I savor from like having these conversations with my children in the
Mm.
car, and like how can I have these present moment conversations from or how can I enjoy cleaning today, do you know what I mean, or enjoy how can I make this a little bit more fun for me. So I don't want people thinking, well, she's flying off to Florida or like like all this and that and living
Oh,
in
let them
Dubai.
think that, Rachel.
Boyfriend, let them think that,
It's fucking
she's
awesome.
easy prudent. She's got
Don't even
money.
justify. It's fucking awesome.
But I just have to, I always remind myself this because I have so many clients with a lot more like different dynamics than I do. And we have to kind of
Mm.
think about how would that look for them in that sense.
Yes.
But yeah, book that holiday to Dubai.
I'm
Dubai,
coming. We've
guys.
already, again, we haven't known each other long, but one of the first things in our interaction was like, when are you coming? And I'm like,
Yeah, when
I've
you
been
come
to
to
Oman, but
Dubai.
not what Dubai. It's next to my list.
I love it
I
here.
can't
Yeah.
wait. I cannot
Yeah.
wait. Can we shift into talking about magnetizing clients? And my
Yes.
question to you is, do the clients that you work with, do you give them different advice to what you choose to adhere to when it comes to magnetizing clients? Like, do people magnetize clients in different ways? Is basically what I'm asking.
Yeah, I think people always magnetize clients based on their uniqueness, their aka
Mhm.
blueprint, as I was saying before, and also how they are, their authentic selves, how their quirks, their genius, their gifts. So I think everybody's going to be so different. I was speaking to a client actually the yesterday. We had a little in-person meeting in Dubai, and we were talking about as well as obviously you can magnetize clients by what I was saying earlier, this energetic split, like this kind of like me saying all these things that I said earlier does make you attract. It does make you highly magnetic, living your best life, being full of life, enjoy being in peace, not in lack and scarcity. It does themselves are kind of like this natural space to be very magnetic in itself. But
Mm.
if we're talking as well from a marketing point of view, it is like I said, those quirks, it is those things that are totally you that you can bring online. And one thing that I had to do for a while is because I used to do this for some time. I used to kind of try and be really relatable to my audience, like this
Oh,
down to earth kind of like northern British girl, but I'm actually quite a bougie bitch. Do you know what I mean? I love living my Dubai life. I love getting my hair done twice a week. This is me at my core. And like
yeah,
my good friend pointing this out to me, she goes, it's not you online. Like I used to
yeah.
be pink bubblegum colors, like relatable, like, oh, look at me today. Like it wasn't me. And like she said, this isn't you. And I kind of realized, and I was like, I don't, and I don't want to, I don't want to be kind of seen as those typical like looks brands. I don't want to be seen as that either. So it was kind
Mm.
of me find my place in that sense of just being me. And it's like behind the scenes, my friends, I can have a laugh with them, but when it comes to work, I'm quite serious. I love to be quite serious and like,
Mm.
ooh, like I go like that a little bit when it's in work mode because I just love to kind of get things down. I think it's like my Virgo MC in
Oh, I was going to
astrology.
ask, where's your MC? I'm Cap
Yeah.
MC, but you're Virgo MC. Okay, yep.
Yeah, so I
Yep.
have to be like, right, okay, what's the plan? And it's like, I'm like, right, what's our action steps today? And I had my client, she's like, why are you getting so like mummiger on me, like Chris Jenner? You know, I was like, well, we've got to get you sorted, right? Come on, let's get this in. Like, people don't expect that from me. And that is me. And I feel like I'm bringing that more into like my thing at the moment because I just feel like we need some seriousness, people.
Yeah, we do.
We need to get
You
shit.
said something on stories the other day, and by the way, your stories are just the best. They're the best in the business. I just love your Instagram
Oh,
stories.
thank you.
And I will be honest, I do not watch many people's Instagram stories because frankly, they bore the shit. I'm
Oh,
like, I do not, like, not
this is the
interested.
biggest compliment ever. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I think a lot of people could up their stories game and get a lot more traction in their business and really use them as the goldmine that they are. But the point that I wanted to make was you were sharing a client vignette about this idea that one of your clients had, and you're like, it's such a great idea. But your psychic gift said, but your audience don't want that. Your audience
Yeah.
actually want you to do this thing over here. And I'm getting goosebumps again. You said, and it was all in text form, but you were like, because ultimately business is business. And I was like, boom. And what I loved about you saying that was I just felt, I just felt this grounding of what you do, like this ultimate, like,
Mm.
yes, here, boom, but business is business. So, and I just got really
Yeah,
excited
I
as someone
did.
with no earth in their birth chart. I was like, boom. And I was just like, they were just the right words at the right time. Yes, you can be here, then you can have that desire. There's nothing, I imagine, for
Mm.
you. Like you'd give people full permission to follow their desire, and you would strike that beautiful balance of going, that's a valid desire. And this is what's going to help you get what you want is actually going in this direction.
Yes, this is it. It's like I've seen this industry for so long where people are kind of, and I think it's actually more and more prevalent now in today's market where we are a little bit more, we do need to warm our audience, not warm our audience up because I don't believe that's true. Like we can have people buying as soon as they see our page on
Yes.
Instagram.
Yes.
But I do feel there has been a shift in behaviors where people just want to be like, and maybe there was like a paradigm in business a couple of years ago. It was like, do what you love, do what brings you joy, like do
Yeah.
like that idea you have, go with it, like da 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 da. But nobody's actually thinking for a second. That lights me up, but is it actually what my audience want from me?
Mm.
Is it actually is it actually like, is it actually, I have some people say share offers, and I'm just like, well, what does that do? Like, what is it going to do for somebody? It
Mm.
sounds like it's more like a hobby for them to do it and create it and have all this fun with it. And it's sometimes we have to be in that era of like, we've got these amazing ideas up in the air and we've got all this spark and creativity, but we have to ground it down with great messaging. We
Yeah.
have to we have to ground it down with actually having a selling system on like story sales, for example, is my jam. And I have to think about how, so I'll get my idea in every day. I'm thinking intentionally, how am I going to present this offer to my audience today? How am I going to position myself as somebody who has authority today for trust with my audience? How am I going to do this? So every day is like we have these incredible psychic downloads and we have these amazing ideas from our
Yeah.
intuition, but we still have to be, like I said, business is business. And that's so Virgo MC of me now. I'm saying it. I'm like literally living my
Very, very.
chart. I'm like, even I am water, I am pilot, water,
Yes. Yes. I was
sun
going to
and
share that
moon.
with everyone. There's a lot of Piscean water in your chart, isn't
Cancer
there?
moon. It's the Cancer moon eighth house, which is the
Yeah.
psychic bit. I feel it's like, yeah, it's a bit weird. But I want to go back to like some of the stuff about like the client attraction as well, because I was speaking to my,
Please do.
I think this goes quite well with a lot of like, I think the business world is like also like the dating world as well. I was speaking with my client yesterday and we're talking about this, like how it kind of like how you magnetize clients is a little bit like the dating world as well. It's this black cat energy almost. We're talking about black, like we're saying, the golden retriever energy, is that like more the lower ticket? And then like, we're just playing with it. And I was like, the black cat energy, are they more the premium, but attract the premium buyers? And we're going, let's look at the guys in the dating world. Like if you kind of, if they send you a link and you're kind of like, you give a link to a client and you're double checking again and again and again if they got it and if they've invested in you. Yeah, it's kind of like if you imagine messaging a guy, how would he perceive that to be? A little bit, get the ick a little bit, or when you overcompensate all the time, like you overcompensate with like telling people how like overcompensate with your offers, putting all the everything in, all the bonuses, you overgive. It's like a little bit like the dating world, you overcompensate. And we're just having this conversation like about this magnetism is when you are in this power. If they don't sign the link straight away, who cares? You move on with your day. And that's like magnet. These like micromagnetism, isn't it? And it's like I see on TikTok, the black cat energy, like, oh, if they don't, they don't, you move on. These other, if he's not like standards, having kind of like standards is very magnetic as well, having your own kind of standards in this space.
Definitely.
So I just want to share that because we had a quite funny conversation about that yesterday, because obviously I know you're so magnetic, and you're massively, when I go onto your page and everything, I feel so drawn to your magnetism. And, I was going to ask it like, yeah. So you've obviously got this nailed and bottled down.
Yes, I thank you. It's always been one of my favorite topics, and you're right. And I almost felt like our conversation has circled all the way back around to what you were saying about scarcity and lack, and that magnetism is very abundant in that it's not going to get fixated on this one small thing that doesn't go right or doesn't go your way, or this one client that doesn't sign. It really is, I am so full of life. I am so full of myself that I have enough to keep me occupied. I have enough to keep me satisfied. I have enough to capture my attention that whether this happens or not is not going to derail my conviction. It's not going to change the outcomes I seek. It's not going to change the vision. And I feel like it really taps back into that moving out of lack and scarcity and into abundance. I felt threads of what you were saying. Like if it was dating and you did want to be magnetic and then you're overcompensating and like back in their DMs again, I can only just tie it back to what you were saying. I know abundance is a big part of magnetism, already feeling that fullness within yourself and that fullness of your life, so that nothing really changes the end vision for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is definitely that remainance of lack and scarcity. It can be hard to do. It's not, we're not saying that it's easy things. Like me 2 years ago wouldn't be as good as this today as I am now. It takes this time, it takes this observation, it takes this self-awareness of where am I hitting? Like what energy am I hitting? Is this from lack and scarcity at its core? Or is there remainance of lack and scarcity? Or am I feeling in this full blown abundance? And I feel like it's really weird because this feeling of peace and safety is so crucial for me for when I do really great in business. And I feel like I almost like a Care Bear. Do you know Care Bears from like the
Yes,
80s?
of course. I'm a baby of the 80s.
Yeah, me too. I'm in the 80s. I'm like a little elder millennial here
Yeah.
with my ankle socks still and not mine
Yeah.
and with my skinny cheek can't go. And I like the Care Bears and they emit like a frequency from there.
Yes.
And it's that I always kind of feel into that. Like how am I emitting that? Like, and that's like my little benchmark. And I think back to the Care Bears and when they used to activate their stomachs with the colours and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very vivid. And when you were saying it, I could just feel my heart and solar plexus just lift up a little bit. Like, oh yeah, can you lift up a little bit in this moment? I was like, yes, I can.
little rainbow coming out of here, please? Yeah, that's my reference point.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I am so grateful for our conversation today. You just shared so many gems that will move the listeners of this podcast, and I have no doubt will stay with them because what you tapped into was our own power and our own ability to be in our own corner. And yes, business is important and business is business, but where else can we be really full of ourselves and full of our life and full of our pleasure and joy? And can we be curious without using force? Can we be curious about going to that first and then potentially witnessing the flow on effect to other forms of abundance like money and clients?
Love that. You've nailed it.
There's
You've
more.
done the Cliff Notes version of what
Yeah.
I can never say that.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you've just summarized.
2 words. There's more. There's more. There's more and more. So grateful to you, Rachel. And where can listeners find out more about you and what you do?
So I'm so easy for you. Enough this, like I said, it's such a simple business model. I have mainly Instagram is where I mainly hang out. I've started to get a little bit more active on Facebook, and it's my Instagram is Rachel Alyce, RACHELALYCE.co, and .co stands for company, and that's where you can come find me. And I do love to be in stories, so hang out with me in stories. I love speaking to people and seeing about their businesses and getting to know them more. So come and say hello.
Yeah,